division. James Hendin in the solid black trunks, Kris Edwards in the grey and red camo.
You ready? Let's go.
Touch of gloves and we are underway. Kris Edwards, a solid striker, loves to get into these 3-round wars, but also a phenomenal grappler as well. A lot of wins by submission. And Dan, when a guy's been in there that many times, not just in Cage Warriors, but other promotions as well, there's nothing new for this guy. There's nothing you would think that James Hendin will bring that he hasn't experienced before, and that's a huge factor in itself sometimes.
Well, you're absolutely right, but you know what he might be bringing is that hunger, that youth, that ferocity. Already managed to take the match to the ground, and it'll be interesting to see what he looks to do from this position early on as well, to see whether he looks to stand and strike from there. That means that he's just looking to dominate and he's looking to impose his will, or whether he's actually going to try and take it to the ground. So the way that someone acts early in the match, when they're still dry, when they don't have any fatigue set in, that gives you a good insight into their intentions throughout the rest of the match.
Hendin, of course, coming into this one undefeated and 22 years of age, full of the confidence of youth, and we've seen so many guys put that to good use over the years.
Looking incredibly powerful. He's really ragdolling Kris around at the moment, which, one, it's very impressive, but secondly, that's going to wear on you. You know, that's a style of fighting that you can't keep up for 3 5-minute rounds. So it'll be interesting to see, but very obvious that he at this point wants to look to dominate on the ground.
Yeah, we've seen Edwards many a time, you know, mountain late comebacks. Going to take a listen into Richard Shaw in the corner of Kris Edwards now.
Go on, stretch him out there, Kris, with our left leg. Stretch him out. Good lad. Come on, you're up there.
What he's trying to do now is he's trying to regain a butterfly guard.
Good lad. Up.
And a really nice pass back through the knee on stomach. And the knee on stomach is a fantastic position to stop the opponent from being able to regain guard, which is the main thing you want to do if you want to dominate that top position. But that knee shield coming back in from Kris, sorry.
Edwards trying to get back to his feet here. He's got to be careful though.
Okay, setting up a Kimura grip now, which it can be very beneficial in your favor. But at the same time, when you look to focus on that, taking that Kimura grip, especially in the initial part of the setup, leaves your back exposed. And it's quite obvious that James Hendin's trying to take the back here. Luckily, he's using the fence, he's using the cage to stop him from getting around to that back position. But all he has to do is drag him away, and it's going to give him the angle to go for that back take. But he obviously, Kris underneath, obviously feels like he has a pretty good control with this Kimura. From half guard, much harder to get, because you can see there's no space there between the arm and the hips to try and remove that. But when someone's holding on, when someone this experience is holding on, generally it's for a reason. They think that they've got it, but James Hendin manages to pull that arm out.
Let's see if Hendin can get anything going here.
Yeah, a little bit of a sniff of a head and arm choke there. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for it again. There you go, looking to bring that head low. But he wants to try and connect his hands and stop that far arm from moving before he looks to transition, if that's what he wants to go for. So he uses the control, sorry to interrupt you, using the control to take the mount.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there from James Hendin to take the mount. And this is not where Kris Edwards wants to be with just 90 seconds left in the first round. He needs to find a way out from underneath Hendin here. Hendin looking to take the back now, trying to get underneath the chin.
This is a bad position, and James has looked so good on the ground so far. I would really not want to be in this position that Kris is in right now. He should be trying to use the fence because you can use it. Unlike in grappling, again, there's so many differences. When you're in that cage, you can use the fence to stop the opponent from continuing to take the back. So you want to turn into him. You basically have like another floor. So you usually use the floor to try and stop the opponent from hitting the angle. Now you can use the fence as well.
Beautiful little exchange there. It looked like Edwards had found the way back to his feet, and Hendin just booted the leg out from underneath him.
Yeah, really aggressive, sort of really power-based grappling, but incredibly tight, and his movement's fantastic as well. Kris looking to set up that Kimura once more, but James just looking to strike at this point.
Edwards back to his feet now. Let's see if he can find a way out from between Hendin and the cage. Looking to pummel in here.
And at this point, you've got to be asking yourself, well, who's actually expended more energy? Is it the person who's been grappling very aggressively, or is it the person who's having that person grappling aggressively on top of them and having to defend the entire time? Just the worry and the adrenaline and the fear from being attacked very often can take a lot of energy out of you.
Couple of short shots with the left elbow there from James Hendin. Just putting an exclamation point on this round. It has been one-way traffic in the first 5 minutes. That's a solid round in the books for the youngster James Hendin.
And he's barely breathing. like he's been using big power moves. He's been grinding the entire time. He looks in phenomenal shape, and that was an incredible round.
Let's take a look at some of the action from that round. Hendin in close quarters here, looking for a big takedown. Landed in a solid position there as well.
Yeah, and look at his upper body. As soon as he lands there, that head's grinding into the face. The underhook is deep. Everything's tight.
Hendin on top, trying to get that grip closed on the head and arm choke, but just wasn't able to get the position for it. Passed into side control and eventually into mount here. Still ended up coming out of that exchange in a very advantageous position.
Yeah, but good defensive work from Kris underneath as well.
Stay back. Ready.
Round two about to get underway here in Manchester. Touch of gloves. Now, interestingly enough, James Hendin doesn't actually have a submission win on his professional ledger yet, so perhaps something he's looking for here tonight against Edwards.
They're back into the clinch here. It's always interesting when someone has such a dominant grappling round in that first round. It's interesting to see whether they're going to continue to fight in a similar fashion, or whether they're going to try and change it up. Kris in a really good position here, almost taking the back. James doing a good job of managing to get his body facing his opponent again, but for the first time really in this match on the back foot.
Yeah, Edwards certainly not too concerned about engaging with Hendin in the grappling portion of this contest. Oh, beautiful throw by James Hendin. Oh, my goodness.
That was absolutely gorgeous. Wow.
Straight over the hip and big impact. We often talk about, under the new judging criteria, a takedown in and of itself that just changes the position, doesn't score, except where there's impact like that. So, that's the kind of high amplitude slam that's going to count very highly for James Hendin when this round is scored, if indeed we get that far.
Yeah, well, it definitely scores with me, those big takedowns there. Yeah, very different to how he was taking Kris down in the first round. He was really manhandling him, but that was a beautiful, very technical, using the position and the off-balance position of his opponent and taking advantage there. And right now, really looking to try and pummel with the legs to get to a more dominant position. Kris, again, even though he's been on the defending side of these exchanges the entire time, he's doing the right thing. He was in some bad positions last round, and he's always managed to get out, but...
We're going to listen into Richard Shaw again here, I believe.
Back to the fence. Creep. Don't give that. There we go. Good lad.
So Richard talking about what I was talking about earlier, which is using the fence to try and stop the opponent taking the back.
And the corner telling Kris Edwards he needs to move out of that position. Rich Mitchell is not going to let Edwards just take unanswered shots on the ground like that. Another nice left hand from James Hendin. Hendin looking for the back here. Edwards keeping both hands on the floor to keep him classed as a down fighter and prevent those knees coming into the head. And again, a beautiful trip of the leg out. We saw that in the first round from Hendin.
So this is something that... he doesn't just bring the hook in, he actually draws the leg backwards. And whenever the opponent tries to base or stand, he's kicking that out or dragging it through. It's very impressive.
And again, James Hendin trying to displace the leg of Kris Edwards, doggedly chasing these takedowns. Beautiful work here from Hendin to reposition Edwards to the mat. 2 minutes left in the second round, and there's a lot of points on the board for Hendin.
Yeah, there's a potential armbar attempt here from underneath side control. James doing a really smart job of pulling Kris away from the edge of the octagon, to pull him off of the fence to stop him from being able to use it to his advantage. This is someone with 3 matches, but showing significantly more experience.
You've got to use your position.
And the referee there just wanting a little bit more action. Edwards has to be careful of his neck here.
Keep the hand on the leg, keep the hand on the leg, keep the hand on the leg, keep the hand on the leg.
Yeah, you see that left hand coming up? That's going to try and stop James from getting to the back. In terms of what he's doing with the upper body, there aren't massive opportunities to submit from there. There are some, but really, you're always trying to stop the opponent from circling to the back. Then you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Hendin using that grip of the neck again to reposition Edwards.
Now, this is different. If he shoots that arm through, he's going to try and lock up a Bravo choke here, and now he really could be in a lot of trouble, but looking to strike from this position instead.
Short shots from Hendin there.
I don't think that the fact that James doesn't have any submission victories on his record, I don't think that's an indication of his skill on the ground. You can tell he uses a very, very interesting style of grappling where he grinds and beats on his opponent. He's not really looking for the submission. He's looking to punish him.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen in previous fights. You know, the last two against Jordan Barton and Kingsley Crawford going the distance, and we've seen that grinding, just really brutalizing, disheartening style.
Beautiful mount tape there. Just timed it perfectly as Kris moves that bottom leg, and then it's straight into the back from here as soon as he turns.
15 seconds on the clock as Edwards defends what may have been a rear naked choke attempt.
So like, super interesting what I'm saying there. He's obviously looking to submit, but he's not prioritizing that high. He could have gone for an RNC there, but instead he pulls backwards to get a better position to just strike and grind. Very interesting.
And after 2 rounds of that kind of treatment from James Hendin, Kris Edwards has got to be disheartened going into that 3rd round. So it'll be very interesting to see what advice the corner gives. Oh my goodness, that was beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I could watch that every day for the rest of my life. Look at that.
Look at that. Wow. That really is just beautiful, clean technique. And mentally as well, that's a huge momentum shift in an instant.
Yeah, that was the only bit of, that was the only part of the fight, 2 rounds so far, that James was on the back foot and instantly able to completely change that momentum.
And still not breathing out.
He's not breathing, it's ridiculous. We really weren't joking when we said this guy is someone to look out for. Incredible so far.
Well, I don't know what they're putting on James Hendin's Weetabix, but I'd certainly like to try some.
I'll take 2.
Okay, ready.
3rd and final round here in Manchester. Kris Edwards, James Hendin. And let's see if Edwards can mount a comeback here in the 3rd. He's going to need a finish here, or an absolutely dominating performance. Beautiful level change by Hendin. Edwards trying to sprawl out here.
He's got an arm and guillotine position here. So what you'll probably see James try and do is sort of come round to that left-hand side. He's going to try and use this to get round towards the back. Can you see the angle of the elbow? You see how high that is? That means you've got no control. See how he was able to come towards the back from that position? When you have that guillotine, you've got to keep the person in front of you. You can't let that elbow raise.
No, Kris, keep the whiz out.
Yeah.
And again now Hendin looking to grind away on Edwards.
Yeah.
Staying very heavy on him up against the cage.
Come on, right arm through Edwards. Get a little bit lower, son. He's lifting you there. That's what he wants. He wants you on your toes. Get up.
Corner asking for Edwards to stay a little bit lower here, get that nice wide base, but Hendin already looking to get around the back of him and displace that leg beautifully again.
Yeah, I was talking about this last round. He does this so well. He disrupts the base of his opponent by using his lower body. It's kicks, it's knees, it's feet. He's trying to take away his opponent's balance and then take advantage of that lack of balance that he creates. But Richard Shaw just cooked like perfect cornering from here. He knows exactly. But when you've got someone like James on top of you, it's very, very difficult to do anything.
And they want Edwards up on his feet.
Position.
Stand, right.
Edwards gets up. He needs to get away from the cage here. He does not want to get trapped between the fence and James Hendin again.
Yeah, this is what James does very well, is he utilizes the underhook. And look, again, 3rd round, and he's still manhandling his opponent to the ground.
And the corner of Kris Edwards telling him he needs to work, but you know, he doesn't just need to work from here, Dan. He needs to find that submission. He needs to get back to his feet and find the knockout.
This is It's going to be very disheartening for Kris.
Come on. Get your arm from and hook in the leg.
Let's take a listen in now to James Hendin's corner. Andrew Fisher there, Cage Warriors veteran himself.
Bring your head to this side as well. Bring your head to the side of his arm.
Okay, he's got a sniff on a head and arm, but again, really using it to threaten. Using it to threaten and force the opponent to react to a potential sub, which opens him up to a positional transition or to strike. It's just a really interesting style of grappling.
And again, staying very heavy on the back of Kris Edwards. 2 minutes left on the clock in the round and the contest.
So watch how James utilizes the hook. So you see on his left leg, he's got that hook in here. Well, now he's gone to take the back. Okay, well, now we're going to see whether he really wants that sub or not. And again, just coming off from the back position and choosing the strike instead.
Kris, keep him working all the time. Don't give him nothing to settle with.
And watch him try and kick this leg out. Again, he's going to start attacking this leg. Okay, well, Kris sits down. He doesn't give him a chance, but you'll see. So you see he takes this hook here. He doesn't just bring it in like a hook on the back. He's actually going to be applying pressure with that leg when Kris tries the move. He'll bring that hook in and then try and utilize that hook to create space and take away the base. And the entire time he's striking.
Edwards still trying to get back to his feet here, and again, Hendin just trying to kick the basing leg out from underneath his man. Looking for the big mat return now. And this really has been the story of the whole fight, Dan. It's just relentless pressure from top position and just not letting Kris Edwards get any rhythm going.
Yeah, so Kris has done a pretty good job of, well, he's tried to stay on the knees to stop this position, exact position where you can really start to land a lot more effective ground and pound. At this point, he's been ground down so bad, he's ended up giving back position, and now James has the mount. Now, this is an effective way to escape there. A possible attempt on a heel hook, but just pulls out of it and back to where he wants to be.
Let's see if there's a Hail Mary from Kris Edwards in the last 20 seconds of the round. Look for a big right hook, but it's let Hendin in.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Stranger things have happened in MMA. I think that this show itself is a testament to that.
Yeah, second that.
And again, Hendin going back to work. Tight clinch, short shots. That really was the story of the fight. Look, at 22 years of age, James Hendin remains perfect, surely, on the judges' scorecards. Kris Edwards disheartened there. Let's take a look at some of the action from this final round down.
So yeah, kicking that leg out, the weight goes backwards, and then he just brings him down with the weight. Really nicely done.
Just staying very heavy on top. And again, just able to drop Kris Edwards to the mat and come out in a much superior position as James Hendin there. Well, the judges have tallied their scorecards at cage side. You get the feeling there may even be a 10-8 or 2 thrown in there.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Later rounds.
So, man, a fantastic job from Kris Edwards. He was defending the entire time there. He never gave up. So,
well, yeah, he's one of the most tenured veterans on Cage Warriors for a reason. A great gentleman and someone we love seeing in the Cage Warriors cage. Always brings it. But tonight belongs to James Hendin. So let's throw it to our MC in the cage, Mr. Hal Chaplin, to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of mixed martial arts action, we go to our judges' scorecards. Your judges scored this bout 30-27, 30-26, and 30-25 in favor of your winner by way of unanimous decision. In the blue corner, James Hendin!
James Hendin remains perfect.